Hello, Justin.
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's going super, just super duper. But I was thinking about something,
Yeah.
because we had a conversation about ClickFunnels. You were like way into ClickFunnels for a while.
Oh, I still am.
Yeah. I've never used it actually for a marketing campaign.
Well, you're missing out then. You're missing out on a big thing there.
Ah, man, how do we resolve this? We are problem solvers. So how would we resolve this issue?
Well, I guess what we could do is I got an idea.
Yeah.
We're gonna get let's get one of the founding partners on the line and see what he has to say about it.
No way.
Yeah, I got a direct line here, so I got him on speed dial. So why don't we just go and dial him up, see if he's there?
That's why I love you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, while he's making that call, I'll just introduce ourselves. We are the Marketing Geeks.
Marketing Geeks.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Where is Daredevil? I'm right here. Don't miss the return of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again.
So what's next?
I feel liberated.
We're gonna take this city back.
Over medicated.
In an all-new season, now streaming only on Disney+.
They're hunting us. It's time we started hunting them.
I can work with that.
This should be tons of fun.
Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again, now streaming only on Disney+.
All right. So who you got for us, Justin?
Yeah, that's right. Today we are joined by an exciting guest. We have Dave Woodward, who is a partner with ClickFunnels since the beginning of the company, which I found out today is the 6th anniversary of ClickFunnels. We'll have to talk about that. So they were founded in 2014. Dave's got vast knowledge of online marketing. He's played a pivotal role in growing ClickFunnels from 0 to 150 million in annual sales. And maybe more than that. So he has a top business podcast called Funnel Hacker Radio, and that right now is being rebranded to ClickFunnels Radio next month in October. So he's very energetic and guaranteed to make this episode great. It says so right here in his bio. So I'm going to hold you to your word. Please welcome to the show, Dave Woodward. Dave, how are you?
Hey guys, super excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being on the Marketing Geeks. So for those listeners who don't know you and don't know ClickFunnels, give us a little breakdown about who you are and how you're connected to the company and what the company does.
Sure. Again, Dave Woodward, we've had the opportunity of growing ClickFunnels for the last 6 years, over 100,000 customers now. And the platform is set up for anybody who's either trying to generate a lead or sell something online. ClickFunnels is for you.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment of it. It's pretty much like an all-encompassing type of software. So, the way I would break it down, you have your landing page features. So you're actually building out like where you would direct someone to come to a website with a direct call to action. You have an email component. Now, one of the things I was hearing in the beginning of the year this year was that you were kind of getting back to basics. And I know that there was a transition where I believe Russell, the founder, Russell Brunson, who was the CEO he was the CEO of the company, I believe he moved from CEO to chairman, and that there were some kind of changes back to the roots of the company. Am I accurate there? Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Sure. More than happy to. So again, when we started ClickFunnels, we have 2 co-founders, Todd Dickerson and Russell Brunson. Todd is the technological genius behind growing and scaling and building the actual platform. Russell is the marketing genius to actually make all this stuff happen. Again, I came on during that period of time and helped grow and scale. Both Todd and Russell are the introverts, and I'm the extrovert of the company. And actually, about this time last year is where we kind of made some changes as far as organizational things. So Russell is our chief experience officer. Todd is our chief strategy officer, and then I'm the CEO.
Oh, you took over. You're the CEO now. I knew that there was a replacement. I did not realize that you are now the CEO of ClickFunnels. So I didn't. Okay, we have to reintroduce you now. That's the.
Oh no! I'm not. We're not real big on titles. What matters is just getting stuff done. We all kind of come from the whole startup mentality of all hands on deck and whatever it takes. Let's just make this thing happen.
So for a while though, you were kind of dabbling more. I mean, I think when I heard the interview with Russell, some of this was again toward the beginning of 2020. It was that you were kind of dabbling in too many areas though, and that you wanted to get back to core fundamentals where like your area of brilliance is really like simple landing pages. So people can kind of plug and play, create these pages that look amazing without knowing code, without having to have this certain level of background. Plus you have templates that are just like fill in the blank. Here you go, put this out there, and it's actually going to proven to convert basically from prior funnels. So can you talk a little bit about that, like
Sure.
how you kind of brought back to like your area of brilliance?
Absolutely. Again, when we started ClickFunnels, the whole idea was to create an online sales funnel. We've been building, at the time, Russell and Todd had about 14, 15 different companies up, each one really kind of going down the same path where you're creating this online sales funnel, driving people into the sales funnel, and then following up afterwards through marketing automation tools. And what we realized as we continue to grow and scale, that the most important thing for a lot of our customers was really understanding how to actually create a funnel. There's a science and an art behind it, and wanted to really provide people more of the tools. Sometimes the art is a little more difficult for some of the people. So what we decided to do is to really create as many, we refer to them as share funnels, where it's a template, but instead of it just being a template, it's the entire sales funnel is already built out for you. And we then went back to when we first started ClickFunnels, it was called Funnel Fridays, where every Friday Russell would get on and say, here's 10 of the things that are working inside of ClickFunnels, and you should start using them in your business. We went even more basic elementary level, where we now have Funnel Fridays, where he and Jim Edwards get on, and they literally will build out a funnel in a certain niche. So it might be for e-commerce, it might be for a webinar, it might be for generating a lead. And our designers and our other people who work with us, they then create anywhere from 7 to 15 different templates or share funnels. Whereas as long as you're there on Funnel Fridays, you listen to it, you get all 7 to 15 of those things in your account with a click of one button. And then you can go ahead and you can change your pictures or your copy, your images, whatever else you want. So that, again, they're tested funnels, they work, they've been used in other areas, and they're really set up to be able to get a person's business off the ground super fast, or to find a way of split testing that funnel against something you may already be using.
That's pretty incredible, and it's become a really competitive space since you guys launched, to say the least.
Yeah, you can say that.
I mean, it's almost like every other month there's like a ClickFunnels clone that goes up on AppSumo, you know. So how did you originally get involved with this? Because this is like, it's amazing. It's an amazing product. But how did you go from, like, what were you doing before that, and how did you get involved with ClickFunnels?
Great question. So my earlier career, I had my own marketing agency. At the time, I kind of cut my teeth at the Dan Kennedy and Jay Abraham and more the direct response marketing. Mm-hmm. So early 2000s, I was devout Dan Kennedy devotee, basically, to study as much as I possibly could about direct response marketing. And my marketing agency at the time, we did a lot of direct mail, primarily for mortgage companies and for real estate, for insurance, securities, industry I'd been involved in for quite some time. And really, it gotten very good at scaling and growing those types of businesses. And it was about 2008 when a lot of my clients were like, well, I'd really like to figure out how do we do more things online. And it just happened to be that Russell was coming down and was doing a seminar in Anaheim. And I went to the seminar he and Stu McLaren were putting on. At the time, it was focused primarily on affiliate marketing. And I sat there, took a ton of notes, listened a bunch, but they started off the presentation, and Russell said, hey, you know what, if any of you guys would like to kind of pick our brain, feel free to go to the back of the room and sign up for, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and you can take us out and just talk to us. And I'm like, learned a long time ago, it's a lot easier to work your way or buy your way in. And for me, it was buying my way in. I literally went back and signed up for every breakfast, lunch, and dinner that Russell had. And we became just great friends. Spent a lot of time together in the next 7 years, just doing a bunch of different things, everything from did a couple funnels together in the fitness space, in the real estate space, network marketing space. Some worked, some didn't, but it just started off a great friendship. And when ClickFunnels came around, he extended the opportunity to get involved, and I was very eager and excited to jump into that.
That's interesting, because the vast majority of my clients, I was a client of theirs first, and like what you're talking about, buying your way in or volunteering your way in even. Like, I just think back to like my biggest clients. I either did volunteer. I mean, well, I was I think a client of all of them, but I also did some volunteer work for them on the side. And because I did it, that's what developed the relationship, and then ended up becoming a very profitable client partner relationship. So I really like that philosophy. Now, is that offer still on the table for Russell Brunson? All we have to do is buy him dinner, and we get all that. That's gone up in value, I think, since you got it.
So yeah, his life's changed a little since then. But Justin, again, to your credit there, I am a huge believer that that's probably one of the best ways of building any relationship: buying other people's products, working for free, letting them understand, what value you bring to the table. I think that too often people have their hand out first instead of offering to either give your time, your talents, or some money as well.
100% agree. I caught this in one of your other interviews that when ClickFunnels started, I think all the way through, maybe still going on, you attached like a deal where when you first got your account, you would get a T-shirt and it would get mailed to you, direct mail. And somebody had given you some pushback on the cost of that. And you're like, the T-shirt stays. So we're never getting rid of the T-shirt because, and I agree with you on this. And I think that's the right way to think about it, because if you're thinking short-term, yeah, you're cutting into short-term profits. But if you're thinking lifetime value and you're thinking long-term, then you're creating like people that will remember something. Because I don't know any other company I've ever signed up with that's given me a T-shirt. I got a T-shirt in the mail. I think it might not fit me anymore. So I might get on the ClickFunnels diet to get back in that T-shirt shape. But but tell me about that a little bit, like your philosophy there, like, because I think you were doing that before. That's becoming more mainstream now. I think this idea of sending personalized gifts, personalized things is becoming more embraced finally, but you were doing it a long time ago. So talk to me a little bit about that mindset and how you got started with that.
Great question. Yeah, we actually started almost from the very beginning. What happened for a lot of our customers is they soon started identifying themselves as funnel hackers. And so our very first live event actually happened in 2015. And it was called Funnel Hacking Live, based around that whole idea. Russell had been teaching this principle of funnel hacking. And so when we started really changing and taking a look at the way our sign-up flow went, we decided to go ahead and add in a funnel hacking T-shirt if they did a couple of different things. And at this point right now, primary thing is it's watching about a 20-minute video of Russell really kind of teaching some of the primary principles. So they signed up for a free trial. And I think, Justin, that's probably the reason for a lot of people. They're like, my gosh, I haven't even got any money yet. And you're willing to spend money on them. For us, there's a whole ton of, there's a law of reciprocity that kicks in. And one of the main reasons, and we all came from the direct response marketing days. We're used to lumpy mail, used to getting that kind of stuff. And what we realized was if we could get the T-shirt to them, ideally before the trial even ended, there'd be a possibility they would increase the conversion just due to the law of reciprocity. But the real benefit we didn't realize at the time was the amount of community that started to become created because of the shirt. I've ran into people who I'll see them wearing a ClickFunnels shirt and they're like, oh my gosh, this is probably the most expensive shirt I've ever bought. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I spent probably the first year paying ClickFunnels and I was just afraid to cancel just because you guys had sent me a shirt. And so I think, but there's so much more to it than that. I think one of the things obviously is law of reciprocity. I think the real big thing though is people want to belong, especially the entrepreneur, the solopreneur. It's a really lonely, hard world. And if you feel like you've found yourself, Alex Sharfin refers to this whole entrepreneurial personality type. And I think for us, that's what we see happen for a lot of our customers is they find a community they can belong to. And because of that, they stick, they have great success with the software, and they feel like they're home, they're with family.
Yeah. You've definitely built a hardcore tribe, I would say, of ClickFunnels funnel hackers, whether through your events, which are now very large, or through just like the Facebook groups and communities that I see online. And people self-identify as funnel hackers. You see that all the time of people that are part of the ClickFunnels community. And then you've kind of created this diehard fan base, almost like, in a sense, on a smaller scale than Apple, but like the model of like a Steve Jobs and Apple, where you actually develop your customers into fans, and then they become their own brand advocates. And to that idea of brand advocacy, one of the other things that I saw that you did early on in growing ClickFunnels. So we've had a few SaaS owners on that have talked about the difficulties of growing SaaS companies, and Ryan Levesque, when he was on the show, said, you take $1 million in cash, you light it on fire, and that's step one of building your SaaS company, which is my favorite quote on the show probably to date. But you created one of the early kind of heavy affiliate programs where you were paying 40% commission to all your affiliates in perpetuity. So those were lifetime commissions. And in the sense, you were paying your people that love the product already to go out there and become your promoters and help spread it. And you were paying a higher commission than most companies had been doing at the time anyway, as far as I know. So tell me about the idea behind that commission program, that affiliate program, and what percentage of growth would you attribute that to for getting ClickFunnels to the $150 million plus that it's at now?
Well, I can say in the beginning stages, it was almost 100%. We started off ClickFunnels and really had a ton of success through doing webinars with other affiliates. And Russell literally spent every single day for probably the first 6 months doing multiple webinars. And it was a 40% commission. If I was to start all over, I'd probably do a little less. That 40% is a chunk of change. But again, it's created a very, very loyal affiliate program. It's been a ton of fun for us. I got a text and email yesterday from Anthony Morrison, just crossed over $2 million that he's received from us, paying on stuff he doesn't even, he just promotes just naturally. And we probably have half a dozen people who are over $1 million through our ClickFunnels program. A lot of it really came from, we'd all kind of cut our teeth in affiliate marketing in the past and realized the power behind it, especially if there's one thing just to have people promote it as an affiliate, just trying to earn the money. The other side of it really is when you find someone who's passionate about your product. And for us, it's more a matter of marketing integration. And if I can find a way, like with Anthony Morrison's program, he teaches people how to set up businesses online, how to grow and scale. And it's just part of his program is ClickFunnels. And so they just naturally buy into it. We see the same thing with, Bedros Keuilian has Fit Body Bootcamp and sells franchises. And so their HR department is all set up on our membership platform. And so anybody who buys a franchise basically gets a ClickFunnels account with it. We see Alex Hormozi, same type of thing with gym launch and things. And so for us, it's been a great opportunity to create a bunch of loyal friends, but also affiliates who continue to promote because it works for them, it works for their customers, and again, provides an ongoing stream of revenue, which is really nice.
So let me ask you, when you first when you put ClickFunnels together, was there anything else like that on the market? Was there something that you saw that was like, oh, that's pretty good, but we need to build a better mousetrap? Like, what was the kind of the evolution of ClickFunnels?
Andros, great question. I can tell you, when we originally started, it was out of our own need. We were building a new business, new funnel, probably every other month or so. And Todd Dickerson, I'm sure, got to the point where it's like every request that Russell had as far as changing a headline or changing a font or a color or something, it's like, there's got to be an easier way than me going in and coding this thing every single time. And Todd at the time still lives out in Atlanta and was flying over here to Boise. And literally just as soon as he got on the plane, realized that Lead Pages had received their first round of funding. And he's like, I could build that overnight. It's not that hard. And so by the time he landed, he was totally frustrated with it and sat down with Russell and said, I know we can do this thing. What else would you want besides just a landing page? And that's really what Russell got on the whiteboard with Todd. And they just started mapping out, drawing exactly what would be the best product that would actually serve all the needs that Russell had at that time for his customers. So it was more than just a landing page. It was actually walking them through the funnel, having order form bumps and upsells and downsells and having marketing automation tools built in. So the vision was actually cast 6 years ago and implemented, fortunately for us, very quickly. Todd's just a genius when it comes to tech. And that's kind of how we got started with it. Andros was just out of need for what we had at the time.
Wow, that's incredible. And like when you put it together, because you're basically creating convertible landing pages, right? In a very simple way. So when you started looking at this, how did you get the data to figure out like what the best practices were for the highest types of converting pages?
Oh man, I can tell you, fortunately, we've been doing this at that point, probably 7 years. Probably almost, for me, around 7 years, Russell, probably 10 years at that time. A lot of trial and error. and having done it multiple times, already knew kind of what worked. I think probably the best thing was the ability to split test. So the software was originally created, had a split testing feature to it. So as soon as we would do something and it was built, the very first thing was it was handed over to Todd to see if he could beat it through a split test. And we actually created a 108 split test book showing all the different split tests that had worked, why they worked. And that was really kind of the genesis behind really, it was testing our own stuff over and over and over again to find out what actually worked.
Now, I want to ask about the term funnel, because I didn't really get deeply into the online marketing space until 2012, 2013. And when I think about funnels, I'm thinking like Russell really, if he didn't come up with it, I don't know if he did or did not, but he very much popularized the term online funnel, marketing funnel, which has become a part of the daily lexicon of your digital marketing gurus now. But can you is he the first one to really kind of talk about this, or is he the first one that just made it into a easy to understand model that could go mainstream, or at least mainstream in our world, maybe not fully mainstream? I'm kind of curious on that, because I've never seen, like, even in .com Secrets, which was Russell's first book that I imagine came out around the same time as ClickFunnels launched, it really breaks down like landing page, like OTO one-time offer, like that's your upsell page, and then you might go have a downsell page. It really broke down that flow, or that funnel, and some of these terms. Are you responsible for those, or what would you credit somebody else, or what? I just want to hear the background on that.
I think as far as sales funnels, the term's probably been around for a while. Popularizing it, definitely Russell gets all the credit for making it mainstream and part of the lexicon of online marketing for sure. No one has talked more about online sales funnels than Russell has. Again, we started ClickFunnels in 2014, and early spring 2015 was when .com Secrets came out. So he was writing the book at the same time he was creating the company. And again, OTOs, upsells, downsells were things that we were using on a daily basis. And so again, I don't know who actually the originator of it. I don't know, but definitely I would give 100% credit to Russell for popularizing it for sure. No one has written more, said more, done more videos, talked more about online sales funnels than Russell for sure.
So it's interesting, because one of the things that you talked about at the very beginning of the program was the idea of making things personal. And some of the trends that I've been seeing, especially in sales, has been really about personalizing the reach out. And so we had one of our guests the other week was talking about how she has a whole strategy around creating ad campaigns on LinkedIn that will target a specific company, just to bring awareness. And then she'll create a video, like a 1-minute video that does the pitch, right, directly to the decision maker. So I see that because automation has become so like standard now, it all feels fake. And so when someone does that, it feels real. So how has, like, where do you see the evolution of all of this? Because you almost, in a sense, invented the automated sales funnel, but there's a shift happening. So how are you dealing with that?
Oh man, Andres, there's a lot of things that we're looking at that we currently have in the works, and then a lot of things that are coming. So I'll tell you what's currently in the works. One, when you talk about marketing automation, I think one of the main things to realize these days is you have to communicate with your customer in the way they want to be communicated with. Not everybody's an email person. Not everyone's a text. And so one of the main things we've added inside of ClickFunnels through the marketing automation piece is the ability to communicate through Messenger, through text, through email, through desktop push notifications, through voicemail broadcast. And for one of the main things we've seen is as you go throughout the funnel, and especially on the marketing automation side, we track the ROI of each email, the ROI of each text, the open rates, and again, the actual dollar amounts that each one of those generates. And I think that over time, what happens is you very quickly identify your current customers, they prefer X or they prefer Y. Or what happens is, only a segment does. And you can then segment that this portion of the list. Who's ever opening more text, they get more text. Who's ever opening more messengers, they get more messengers. And then you also still have the opportunity of broadcasting across multiple platforms. But I think the main thing you made mention of, Andres, there is the key to really understand your customer. And I think you're going to see even more customization and more personalization of messaging as we continue to scale and to grow. I know, we talk a lot as from a scaling and growing ClickFunnels, we do a lot through our Dream 100 strategies. And when we, early days, one of the main things we did was, nowadays they're pretty commonplace, but at the time it was a video postcard where you basically opened up the card and there would be a video playing, and Russell literally recorded 100 unique videos customized to each individual person, talking about ClickFunnels and also talking about the .com Secrets book, and making sure that they receive something unique and custom. We still do those same types of things today. Whether it's, one of our top affiliates receives or has a baby, we'll send out a little onesie with ClickFunnels on it or something like that. And I think that the key, Andros, as you made mention there, is you really have to understand your customer and what excites them. And most importantly, how do they prefer to be communicated with? Not everyone is going to be opening Messenger. Not everyone's going to be opening emails. And the key there is to really identify how they best prefer to communicate, what the frequency is, and then to start communicating with them in that desired method.
Okay. And so do you feel that there's more of a shift going in how people are actually doing marketing? I mean, one of the things that I feel is that Facebook has a decision to make in its existence, and in fact, all of social media does, all of marketing does. So, do you see there being an evolution in the way that people are doing marketing in the future? Absolutely,
a ton. One of the things we're looking at right now is being able to identify the customer as they come into the funnel. And some of the things we have on the roadmap here is to be able to actually change the funnel based on who's coming into it. So if you were in a weight loss space, you could basically have pictures of male or female, or for that matter, what's their ethnicity. And the more Facebook gives us a lot of that kind of information, and some of it can be abused, but I think some of it also, if it's using the right method, actually allows you to connect better with your customer. To where if all of a sudden, I don't even remember the old days of kind of pick your adventure type of a books where, you read something and you get to a certain page and say, which way do you want to go? And you go to that page. I think marketing is going to become that same type of experience where it's more of a kind of pick your journey and pick your experience. I see that there's a lot more experiential type of things that people are looking for. Some of it's entertainment, but the other part is they want to be communicated different than they have been in the past.
I very much agree with that. And we're seeing a start of this dynamic content idea so based on like maybe how you tagged your customers in your CRM or however whatever data you have on the customer, it's no longer going to be necessarily a one size fits all experience. So if you click on a link to go to a landing page, depending on how you are labeled in that person's CRM, you might be seeing a different page than somebody else. So if you're a male, maybe you're seeing one dedicated to males. You're a female, you see one dedicated to females, and you can take that down to a very granular level, depending on how big of a team you have and how much you want to do. But I do think we're going to get more and more into that space. It's already starting. Same with email content. I mean, even the emails that go out, you could actually customize those to be a little bit different based on the type of context. And so I very much think that we're moving into that more personalized thing. And I think a lot of the spray and pray, widespread tactics they're being cracked down on too. And beyond just being kind of frowned upon, they're also being cracked down on. I mean, we're seeing, the GDPR was the kind of first step on privacy to stop cold email. And now we're seeing the CCPA in California, and more of that will follow, I guarantee. And so some of these, traditional tactics or where people were doing that kind of stuff are now going to be banned, not just stopped. So I think very much so, like, to separate you from those old school tactics that are kind of phasing out. They're still working to an extent, but they're phasing out, is going to be this personalization aspect. So.
Yeah, I think that dynamic aspect is a huge deal. And I totally agree with you on that, Justin. There's too often, a lot of people think they can be really sloppy in their marketing. And I think all the legislation and GDPR, all the crazy stuff that's happening scares a lot of people off, which is a good thing for those who are serious and dedicated and want to become better at it, because it basically levels up the game.
Yeah. Creates a barrier to entry. Yeah.
It does.
And it's also, we live in a day and age where it's data can be manipulated into anything now. I don't know if you got a chance to see The Social Dilemma on Netflix.
I just watched it, Andros. I just watched it.
Yeah.
I've seen half of it, but I definitely want to see the other half for sure.
Yeah, and it's it brings up a good question, which is what are we really doing with this technology? And because we're moving into this day and age where things are just reality is just kind of spongy a little bit, and we're not really sure what's real anymore. I think that to have some sort of way to reach out to people in a real authentic, true way, it feels refreshing, and so that's really my question, because I think about, when I think about ClickFunnels, one of the things that I think about is the tactics that people employ using any sort of landing pages: scarcity marketing, the timer, the countdown, those types of methodologies. I think they're a bit harder to make people fall for nowadays. So are there different types of templates that you're looking at implementing that's going to address those types of issues?
I think, a couple of things you made mention there is urgency and scarcity. And it's definitely, those are the things that, for one, it gets people to move. It's human nature. And as with anything, Andros, you can use it for good or for evil. It's kind of how it works. And it's definitely, I think these days, a lot of it's used more on the evil side of things. But what we are taking a look at is, some of the main things you'll find when it comes to like a scarcity, if there is truly a certain number, that's one of the things that your customers actually, you can build a really solid relationship with if it's real and if it's authentic. If it's not, then very quickly your customers are going to realize, you know what, they're just out there trying to make a buck. And so some of the main things that we have looked at is, what are the things that you can do to become that much more authentic, but at the same time still use the human behavioral things that actually still do work. And so if you're taking a look at from an, again, urgency or scarcity thing, if it truly is a certain quantity, and I think one of my favorite examples of this is Lululemon. I should have bought stock when I first got married in Lululemon because my wife loves Lululemon. But it's just one of those things where when they're out, they're out. I mean, there's certain products that when it's out, it's out. And because of that, whether it's a color or a pattern or size, it's extremely authentic. And what it's done is built a very strong following amongst their customers, because they know there's certain things that are always there, but there's certain patterns that are only there during the winter months. There's certain things that are only there. And I think when you start learning from other businesses that are mainstream, who are using things that actually work, and you start applying those into your own business, you'll have a ton more success.
It's kind of true. That's probably why I spend so much money on AppSumo.
There you go.
Well, Anders, I want to say two things here, though, because one, I mean, as much as people may start to be more aware of the tactics like a scarcity or urgency that they're kind of being used on them, on the other flip side of that, we are human beings with a human brain that's only evolved to a certain extent. And those are the triggers that will trigger humans. And I mean, the reality is that psychology is hardwired into our brains. And so even if somebody's aware of it, it doesn't mean it doesn't work on them. It still can work, which is pretty crazy, which is why I think that Andros brings up, like, it could be used for evil kind of argument as well. But I like what you said, Dave, because I do think that scarcity, when used authentically, like there really are only there's only room for 3 people, because I only have so much time on my calendar. If you're taking on like a high level coaching, like one-on-one type program, or it's a launch that ends on this date, and that's legitimate. As long as those dates are legitimate or the quantity are legitimate, then I think it's smart and it's the right tactic. But I think this started with like kind of evergreen webinars, which are on-demand webinars that were faked to be live when they weren't. I think that's kind of where I remember when I first started watching them, I didn't know they were not live. I thought they were live. And as I kind of discovered it, and then I saw like things like fake dynamic comment insertion and like all these kind of crazy tools to create the experience of a live environment that wasn't there. I think those worked really, really well for a time, and they might still work today. I've kind of moved away from them at least on my side. So I don't know exactly how well they still work, but they, to me though, I think those are the kind of things that are more, they're being more critical. People are more critical on them now than they were 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Oh, sure.
And I think that's where a lot of this, like when people think about like the negatives of scarcity, it's like that's what they're thinking of, is like this fake scarcity that everybody has a timer that pops up that says 1 hour that doesn't really mean anything. Or back in the 80s and 90s when we watched infomercials on TV, call in the next 10 minutes and you'll get this. But what if I call 20 minutes? How do they even know when I saw the ad? Right?
No, I mean,
is
just
that what you're saying?
The same thing. Oh yeah, we still do a lot of live webinars, and it always cracks me up when people say, "Is this really live?" I'm like, "Yes, let me tell you right now, this is live."
Oh yeah, I see that all the time now. People don't believe it. They don't believe it anymore.
This is live.
So Dave, let me ask you a kind of a different field of question, because one of the things that I feel has contributed to the success of the company is the culture, right? There people are excited about what you're bringing, and it seems that people, you're having events, you're like, people get up on the couch like Tom Cruise and scream about the girlfriend. But how did you develop the culture? Was there a specific sort of vibe you wanted to bring into it? How did that happen?
Oh man, I tell you, we could have a huge long podcast just on culture and growing culture. There's, you mentioned earlier the whole Apple-esque type of feel. Again, one of the things I have in my office here is basically is from Steve Jobs up there about the crazy ones. And for us, it really was part of our culture from the very beginning. We started off when we were building Clickfunnels, and we had what we refer to as hackathons, where literally we'd be up almost all night long because we had this kind of a plateau plomo approach. And again, plateau plomo comes from, again, it's a Mexican experience of where basically you're sitting there and the sheriff's in town, and all of a sudden the mafia comes into town and basically says, "Hey, here's a bag of gold or silver, or there's a bullet. Which one do you want?" And it's either, it's a lead or gold type of moment, lead or silver type of moment. And I think that it was that type of approach. When we had deadlines, we made sure we met those deadlines. And that was kind of the culture amongst us as founders and as partners and building that started to kind of bleed into a lot of our natural communication. But then I think the main thing that obviously the t-shirt helped a ton, but it was the communication and the authenticity. When ClickFunnels went down, when we were basically, our servers literally crashed in the first year of the company, and we're sitting there, and Russell and I would just finished a presentation at a Dan Kennedy event. He was hopping on a plane to London. I remember getting the call from Todd, and he's like, "We are screwed. We don't know what we're going to do." And we were the number one consumer of our own product. And I think that authenticity of Russell getting on Facebook Live and saying, "I am so sorry. Our guys are working night and day to make sure we get this thing fixed, but we understand your pain. We're going through this. Our funnels are down too." And I think it was the authenticity at the very beginning and just being super, super transparent that helped people, because I thought, man, we're going to lose so many customers through all of this. And during that whole period, we really didn't. What we saw happening was people were cheering for us to make sure that we actually got that thing back up and running, because their businesses were built on it. And so as you kind of fast forward that throughout the years, our live events, Funnel Hacking Live, has become much more of just an event. It's like a concert, and it's like a family. And it started off in our very first one in Vegas with probably 500 people. Last year, we're in Nashville with almost 5,000 people. And they come from around the world because they want to be a part of something. I believe that to most entrepreneurs and small business owners, they want to feel like they belong. And more importantly, they want to feel like they belong to something that is going to help them get to their next goal. One of the things, if it's a video here you see behind me, is our 2 Comma Club X Award. And so we started creating awards and giving awards out. The very first thing was our 2 Comma Club Award. And I think it was a funnel hacking, our second or third funnel hacking live, where prior to that, Russell came in my office and said, "Dave, how many of our customers have made over $1 million inside of a sales funnel?" And I was thinking it may have been 2 or 3. And I think at that time it was almost 30 or 40. I was shocked. And so we created an award and tried to recognize our customers. So when you start looking at building culture, if it's all about you, you'll always lose. Once it becomes more about your customers and making sure that you're recognizing them and their success, that's where you start building a ton of confidence and, more importantly, trust amongst your customers. For us, It went from, our 2 Comma Club award, I think as of yesterday, there's 976 people who have made over $1 million inside of a sales funnel. 67 who have now done over 10 million. This last year, we rolled out our 2 Comma Club C award, which is those people have made 100 million. We broke it down into 25, 50, 75, and 100. And there's, 25 people that are in one of those 4 categories, 2 of them having already done over 100 million through a sales funnel on Clickfunnels. And so when you start looking at building culture, the communication, we spend a ton of time through video and through content and trying to educate. And I think that anytime you're looking at trying to build culture, one is you have to provide an opportunity for people to where they can communicate with each other. Again, we've 250,000 people on our Facebook group, and we only have 100,000 customers. The majority of those people actually aren't even our customers, but they have the opportunity of communicating with each other. The ability to allow people that feeling of growth and a feeling of achievement, and to recognize that achievement along the way. At any of our events, we give out a ton of T-shirts, and it's a weird thing where when we're looking at the T-shirts, and we may mention this a couple of times, one option was to go ahead and just do a real cheap T-shirt, or to really go for a high quality T-shirt. We chose the high quality one because we wanted people wearing it on a regular basis. And I think it's the little tiny things that all add up. I think if you take a look at the recent book from Walt Disney on building culture, customer service, Be Our Guest, that's an amazing book that talks about really spending the time. They have a whole division of the company called Guestology, and it's a study of their guests and understanding, because realize a customer who comes to Disney in China or Japan is a totally different customer that comes to the US or to France and Paris or to Euro. And I think it's understanding your customer, and the better you are at knowing who you're serving, the better job you'll do at building a culture that they can actually feel a part of.
And I think
I can go on for hours on customer service. I mean,
yeah. You touched on like the aspect of social proof in a big way. We've talked about a lot of these influence tactics. We've talked about scarcity and reciprocity, and all these are all coming up. But I mean, I do think that social proof and the idea of not putting your brand first, but putting your customers or your affiliates, the people that are building the brand, putting them first. I think those are very key concepts. And I've seen this in the seminar space. A lot of the clients I've worked for that have made $100,000 plus offers from the stage and things like that. They pre-frame those offers with panels of prior clients that have had extraordinary results, and it's not about the person making the offer. It's about those clients and how they were able to create those results, and that's what pre-frames the $100,000 offer or higher.
Absolutely.
And I see that as a very powerful tactic. The other thing you've done with the awards, though, is you're recognizing your people for massive accomplishments. You've created a system where other affiliates are then going to want to get the award. So you've created this kind of benchmark that people are going to want to strive for. There's actually now a clear goal for affiliates to go for that maybe didn't exist before. Maybe they had loose goals, but now they actually want that award. And then you've also kind of created this credibility builder for those people, because if somebody sees that they got a 2 comma award, or I don't know how many commas there are, but if you get to the comma award, they're going to know that person is legit, so that they know what they're doing. That's a certain level of proof that person as a marketer is competent, because they've been able to achieve this award, which means they had to do that, had to make $1 million in a single funnel. So I love all of those different aspects. I think it's very powerful that what you built, and I was just kind of breaking some of that down as I interpret it. Is that pretty accurate from what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the main thing, as you made mention there, Justin, is you got to spend more time recognizing your customers. And again, what you said, setting the hard part in most businesses is they don't have a goal of where they're trying to get to. And so it's the whole, pointing the bat to the home run, basically outfield, saying that's where the ball's going, and everyone knows, everyone's looking for it. Same thing happens here, where if all of a sudden you say, I'm hitting that level, next year I'll be on that stage. It's now a goal. It's a passion project. We've had people literally will get home from Funnel Hacking Live, and they'll take a or they'll take a permanent marker and basically put on their wall where their 2 Comma Club black is going to be. So they stare at this blank square all year long, because that's what they want. And I think, again, it's the importance of recognizing them, help them set goals, achieve goals, and have the success.
Yeah, and it ties into one of the reoccurring themes we talk about a lot on the show, which is not only reciprocity, but also developing your tribe. If you do it correctly, you can really get your tribe to do to go along with you anywhere, including to believe that Hillary Clinton eats babies or whatever. I mean, what I want to do is I want to develop a tribe that believes that I'm really good looking. That's it. That's all I want. So
it's a tall order, Andros.
I know, right? Okay, so now I'd like to kind of do a lightning round because I know you're tight on time, but I'd like to find out from you, based on your experience, what are some primary mistakes that a lot of marketers make when developing like a landing page? What are like the worst things that you see and the best things that you see?
Oh man. So a couple of the worst things I see is where the images, the content that you have on an ad has absolutely nothing to do with the landing page they get to. So if you're going to create, you've got to to get to a landing page, you're taking them from someplace, whether it's an email or an ad. And so you have to make sure that either the same fonts, the same colors, the same pictures that they see in the ad, they're going to see on the landing page. If it's coming from an email, the same messaging should be super congruent, should come directly across. I think too often they don't spend enough time on understanding the art behind the creating that funnel. And the easiest way to do it is just take a look at where you're basically getting them from and make sure that when they come across, it's super congruent and they see it right away.
And what do you have? Are there like glaring mistakes that you see people make on a regular basis that you're like, oh wow, why are they using our beautiful technology for this? Like what give me some really bad faux pas you've seen.
I think some of the major faux pas you're going to run across is not understanding where the customer's coming to. There's nothing more frustrating for a customer who's on a mobile device who only has a desktop experience when they click. And so you're not able to scroll, you're not able to span. And now all of a sudden, the very first thing a person's going to do from mobile is just click out of that. The other thing we see is colors that really are just hideous, even though they may be the colors that you like. No one in their right mind is actually going to buy anything on there just because the colors are so glaring ugly and I'm just going to bounce out of it. I think some of the other stuff are pictures that are are stretched and they're not sized right. And all of a sudden you have to understand that first impression that a person sees that's your brand, that's your image, that's who you are. And if you can't spend enough time to actually get some of the stuff just to even look normal or right, those are some of the main things we see where people are like, I'm out of here.
Yeah. One of the things I like about Clickfunnels is that you have that easy kind of develop the mobile impression. So you can actually create what the mobile experience looks like and the desktop experience very easily. And I do know that a lot of people that use Clickfunnels probably don't even realize that you can adjust the mobile experience. The thing that made the biggest difference for me when I used the software was actually implementing UTM links and being able to lead source where people were coming from specifically, which I imagine is also something that there's probably a gap that some people don't have that level. But that was like one of the big differentiators for me is once we actually pinpointed, oh, this person came from a Facebook ad or this person came from this specific email. That's a big transition where we were really able to turn the table and leverage Clickfunnels to a much higher level, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, KPI analysis is something that is, the more data you have, the better, obviously. So, can you give us a clue on like where you think, because there's like augmented reality. I mean, do you see any huge shifts in how the technology is going to change your business? I mean, I'm sure I'm assuming through COVID, you guys probably did fine because people were just still like having to market stuff. But where do you see kind of like the future with technology? Like, how do you see the company going? Is there any like places that you're thinking it's going this direction, and so you're pointing the ship that way?
Yeah, I think some of those, as Justin may mention earlier, as far as a lot of the dynamic funnels and the changes to that will be some of the main areas. I think the other thing we're already starting to see this whole IoT, Internet of Things. You're going to find where, again, a person may be shopping on their refrigerator door all of a sudden. And so making sure that trying to make sure the experience fits wherever the person's at are some of the things that we'll be really spending a lot of time on, is to make sure that the technology matches where people are shopping, where they're at. And I think the other thing you'll see, you already see it in Amazon, Google, Facebook, where you start typing and it fills in the rest of it for you. It already knows what you're looking for. And I think you'll see the same type of thing inside of the funnel where you're going to start to be able to see what is the next logical thing for it. We start taking a look at split testing. And really, again, you made mention, Andres, earlier as far as KPIs. You're going to find there's a lot more data-driven decision-making that where ideally where the software actually will make those decisions for you based on the data that's already there. So instead of offering a certain product, after you've split tested 3 or 4, it's going to recommend, you know what? This product actually is converting better for Facebook. This product's converting better for people on YouTube. And I think you'll find that the funnels will change a ton over time based on the source of traffic coming in, based on the demographics of the people who are buying, and then more specifically based on the actual device that they're on.
Do you have any sort of AI that's working behind the scene to crunch data to start optimizing funnels for people?
AI is a really funny topic.
I know, but
is it self-aware yet?
To answer your question, as far as for most people, yes, we're in the process of getting all that stuff up and running.
Cool. Well, super exciting, man. And we're coming up against our time. But I first of all, if where can someone get educated on ClickFunnels? How can they learn more about it? How can they use it? Give us the breakdown.
Clickfunnels.com is probably the easiest place. There's a ton of education information on the homepage there. Obviously, they can get a free trial from that page as well. In addition to that, probably the One Funnel Away Challenge is the other area where we see if a person's trying to really figure it out. We've got a 30-day challenge that every single day they get content from us on exactly what to do. There's a Facebook group. There's coaches involved and all that. It's $100. It's the One Funnel Away Challenge for a person who really wants to start trying to make it work. That's the easiest and best way.
Oh, nice. And the wild card question here: what industries do you see have the best way to make money as far as either digital curriculums, or is there a specific industry that you're like, oh man, set up a ClickFunnel here and you can make money pretty easily in this sector?
The answer on that is about as wild as the question it is there. So my only reason to saying that is we're seeing people in so many different industries. You alluded to the whole COVID thing. Fortunately for us, we were one of the businesses that actually grew during that, because there's a lot. I think if you take a look at COVID, the biggest wild card that COVID has introduced is it fast forwarded people's experience and understanding of what the internet could actually do for them in their business by 2 to 5 years. And now all of a sudden you've got people who never would have considered going online, either to buy or as a business owner to generate leads, who are now going, wait a second, I actually can. And so we're seeing doctors, dentists, accountants, attorneys, mom and pop shops who normally would say, I'm going to focus here in my own local market, who are going, I can see my customers in other areas. I can service more people. And that's opening up a huge, huge opportunity for them. Obviously, there's the e-com side, which is always out there. But I think when you start looking at it, it's more about really looking at building a customer journey that allows a person to scale and grow within your business than a quick buck.
Yeah. Good point. Well, before we go, we always ask our guests, we want to find out, what are you geeky about when you're not doing work? What are you most geeky about right at this moment? Movie, TV shows, or something that you saw or read? A hobby, a video game, whatever it is. What are you geeky about right at this moment?
The thing I'm most geeky about is my family, my kids. That's the thing. So when work's over, we live on a golf course, so we'll go out and hit a round of balls, golfing, boating. I'm not much of a fisherman, so I'm gonna have to learn fishing. My youngest son at the house is into fishing, so that might be the next thing I'm geeking out about, is how to become a better fisherman.
Nice. Nice. Justin, what do you got for me this week?
Well, I did watch that movie, The Social Dilemma, Andres. It's a little bit pessimistic in that social media is going to end the planet, but it's got some good points though. And it is, it's an interesting film. It definitely gets you thinking, and it is amazing how, I think a lot of the polarization in politics and things like that existed in the past, but how much they've amplified because of the way that social media operates, because of the way that people now communicate with each other, and because that some people are put into these echo chambers where they're seeing content that they engage with only, and they're not seeing the other side of things. And it is amplifying certain processes. It's an interesting film, very eye-opening and very it definitely makes you think. So
I recommend people watch it. And I had an interesting thing happen to me this week where I went onto Facebook on my phone, and for some reason it asked for my password, so I changed it, and then it locked me out. And it says the only way we can let you back in is if we send you an email to an email address I don't have anymore. And so my Facebook dilemma got solved this weekend. So I got locked out of my account, and I have absolutely zero desire to get it back. So,
well,
thank you.
Their customer service is very slow, also. So if you ever did reach out to them, it'll take like 2 weeks to get a response.
2 weeks? You got 2 weeks? That's funny. So, and I'm watching Cobra Kai on Netflix, which is very. David, were you a Karate Kid fan when you were a kid? You look like we're about the same age.
Of course. Wax on, wax off.
Have you seen Cobra Kai?
I haven't yet. I've heard a couple people talking about it. So what?
What? It's good. It has won me over. And basically, yeah, I mean, the premise is great. And basically, it's like these guys are both middle-aged now, and Mike Russo turned into a total dick, and Johnny Lawrence has been he was defeated, and it wrecked him. It made his whole life go off kilter. And so their roles are kind of reversed, but they're both also still them. And anyway, it also shows how complicated life can be. It's great. You know what, Dave, if you liked it, how do you have teens yet? Have you showed them the original Karate Kid?
I do, yes, of course.
Have you showed them Karate Kid, the original? Yeah. So
we'll have to look at Cobra Kai this weekend.
Yeah, man. So, all right, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Dave Woodward of Clickfunnels, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And, please share the podcast with 5,000 of your closest friends when it comes out. But all right, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show. All right, man, Dave Woodward. That was
all right. That was a good one.
That was a good one. I do want to do some ClickFunnels stuff. Iris and I have a business that we are going to be starting. And who knows? I want to do it because if I get a ClickFunnels subscription, I like the idea of just like creating businesses on the fly and putting them up and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
Left nostril inhalers, by now, almost sold out.
Well, as with anything, I mean, ClickFunnels is an amazing tool, but I mean, it always, for people listening, I always like to say that it is a tool. So there is still a more required to make it work than just the software. Now, the software does a lot of that stuff for you. Like you're able to get templates from different industries. You're able to get kind of a lot of the stuff kind of moving in an much easier way than you would without it, like a plug and play landing page builder. You just slide over, drag and drop the image that you want, click to change the fonts, click to change the text that's in the templates. So a lot of it's all there for you, but there are other pieces still. So it's not a panacea that makes it 100% on autopilot, but it does a lot of the work for you. I'm a big fan of the tool, and we'll have a link in the description where you can check it out.
Nice, man. Well,
an affiliate link, of course.
Cool. And if you have any questions, you can always talk to Justin or myself on LinkedIn. Follow the page, folks, because we're doing our episodes live and putting up some cool content, etc.
And also put links because Russell Brunson, the original founder, CEO of ClickFunnels, has 3 really good books that he wrote that are called .com Secrets, Expert Secrets, and Traffic Secrets. So it's a trilogy. The newest one, Traffic Secrets, came out earlier this year in 2020. All good books. So he had in ClickFunnels, he built out like campaigns for each of those books where you could get the book for free, but you pay for shipping. So I'll put some links to those too, because I think those are some of the best books out there on marketing. They're definitely in my top, at least I haven't read Traffic Secrets yet, but the .com Secrets and Expert Secrets are both amazing books. I'm sure the Traffic Secrets is just a continuation of that.
The trilogy that is the Lord of the Rings of the marketing world.
That's right.
So all right, ladies and gentlemen, with that, We are the Marketing Geeks. I'm Andre Sturgeon.
And I'm Justin Womack. And we are out. Stay classy.
Marketing Geeks, come on, bring your friends. We'll learn marketing from distant lands. Andre Sturgeon and Justin Womack. The fun will never end. It's Marketing Geeks.
Marketing Geeks.